Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Thranduil from Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. For this pattern you're going to want some black for the boots. Now white or a pale yellow or gold for the hair. Skin tone, the paler the better. Beads or bands for the eyes. If you're using bands, go with black. I'm going to be using black beads this time, and I'll show you how to thread them on using some dental floss. Or you can use white beads and draw the pupils on using a Sharpie. You will want a C-clip or two, a couple of hooks. For his outfit, I'm going to be using gray and kind of burgundy maroon. But if you have another shade of purplish bands you'd like, or silver or black, you can play around with that. I'm also going to show you how you can use a little bit of gold or silver ribbon to put on the crown. I will also show you how to do that using silver bands. Okay, and last thing is your loom will be in the offset configuration. So let's begin by making the arms. We're going to take 2 skin tone bands, wrap them on the hook 1, 2, 3 times, pull it onto 2 more skin tone bands, take them out of here, there we go, and put the other end back on. And this is going to go onto 8 sets of double bands of the color you want for the outer vest part. And if you don't want such a part, then you can have it the same color as the main section. So what I mean is you could leave out that purple part altogether if you really wanted to, and just not add the side extension. But in that case you want your sleeves to match the main part, which is the gray in my case. So once more, that was 8 sets of double purple. You're taking 2 together, sliding through, replacing. Take 2, put it on the end, slide it through, and replace. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and last set is 8. Our other arm is done in the exact same way. Get out your 2 skin tone bands, wrap them on the hook 1, 2, 3 times, pull onto double bands of the same color, and then 8 sets of double bands in your sleeve color. We're going to move on to the legs in a minute, so if you're like me and have a preferred hook, you can arrange it so that one is free. In my case, that means I'm just going to take these off of here so I can make my legs on my smaller hook. I think this is a 2.5. Maybe it's just a 2. Nice and little. Okay, so I'm just putting the arms to the side. I'm going to start on the legs. We're doing black, 2 black, wrapped on the hook 1, 2, 3 times, pull that onto 2 black bands, hold it there a minute, or I'll show you the easy way. Put the other side on, take a single, put it on the hook, wrap 1, 2, 3, or 4 times. We're going to bring the first piece over so that the wrapped one sits in between. Pull that onto 2 more black bands, and we're going to repeat. So transfer all of these, and then you're going to wrap another one on the end, 1, 2, 3, or 4 times if you want it tighter. Pull the first piece over. This is going to go into 2 block bands. Slide all your pieces on, try and keep them in order if you can. Sure you can. Replace, and now we're going to take a single block band, stretch it, twist it, double it over onto itself, pull through, and then we're going to get 3 sets of double block bands. So take, here we go, 2 together, we're going to put it on. This is our first set. Just want to even this out a little bit, it's leaning a bit. And second set of double block bands, and 1 more. And that's basically the whole leg, so you can leave it where it is or put it on the hook with the arms. I'm going to leave it where it is actually, because, well, just because. 2 block bands again, wrap 1, 2, 3 times. I think we only did it twice. No, that's right. 3 times, pull into 2 block bands. We're going to have that wrapped band in the middle, so here's the shortcut, or the other way. Put a single in the end, wrap 1, 2, 3 times. Flip it back around and replace. That's the same thing we did when we had it on the outside and then slipped it under. Pull that onto 2 block bands. And another wrapped band. This will go at the end. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to replace it here. So as I said, you could always replace it first, wrap it on the end and pull that over. That's the exact same thing. We're going to put this all into 2 block bands, and then onto a doubled over single block band, and onto 3 sets of double block bands. 1, 2, and 3. You can put your hook down. We're going to come right up to the loom now. We're starting at the very top with 2 sets of double skin tone bands coming down in the middle, like so. Switch to the color you want for this middle section here. We're going to take 2 gray bands, come from the second center to the second right, 2 gray bands from the second center to the second left, and we're going to go down each of the rows straight to the bottom with double gray bands. I'm going to pause this here and lay those out, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so we've put down sets of double bands from the top or second to top peg to the very bottom of the loom. Now I'm going to be using single holding bands. You can double them over if you want your body to be a little bit tighter, but I'm just going to go with singles. So single gray band, stretch it across your 3rd pegs down across all the rows. Repeat for each of the sets underneath, and stop when you get to the last, the bottommost pegs. For the last set, what we're going to do is take 2 gray bands, get your hook with the legs on them, or the boots, put the grays at the end of your hook and slide your boots over. This will stretch from the bottom peg on one side to the bottom peg on the other. You want to get between the boots and pull those 2 bands up over the center bottom peg. Okay, one more thing before we add our side extension, well, after we put on the arms. Arms go onto the second pegs down on either side. Transfer the bands off of your hook and onto those pegs. Now, one other thing here we want to add, which I guess could have gone on. You know what, we're going to put this on under the arms. So I think it'll be a little nicer. Okay, pop the arms off for a second. We're going to take a gray, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times, put it onto double gray bands, lay it from the first peg down on the side to the second peg down on the side. This is going to be for the little shoulder pad collar piece. Same for the other side. 1, 2, 3, onto 2. Well, 3 wraps that is, onto 2 bands, and place it down. And then we'll put the arms on after. If you put them on first and really didn't want to take them off, that's okay. Although probably a little late now, but it's okay either way. Alright, so last thing before we loop up, we're going to do the kind of cloak. And this, as I said, is optional. If you really don't want to do that, you can loop it up and skip ahead in the video. I will go ahead and show you how to make that piece though. Take a single of the color you want, wrap it 3 times on your hook, and pull it onto 15 sets of double bands of that color. This is 10. Twelve, 13, 14, and 15. Now you're going to go to the bottom of the chain, count up from the wrapped band, 1, 2, 3 sets, and that piece, that set is going to go onto your bottommost peg on one of the sides. We're going to do this for both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you do first here. The bands that are on your hook are going to stretch up and go onto the second peg down on that same side. Try not to twist it too much if you can help it. And we're going to grab a piece out of each chain to pull over the pegs that are in between. Try and grab from the same side or section each time. So I don't want to grab from here and pull it around because it's going to twist my whole chain or pop it off. If I can get one from the inside, then that's really the ideal. This baby wants to twist because it's such a big piece. A lot of our chains aren't quite so long, but it's okay. Once it's secure, it'll be really secure. Those of you who are ahead of me here, you probably figured it out. We are going to do the same kind of chain for the opposite side, so you can get started on that whenever you're ready. Looks like I got an extra one there. 2, 3. I think we're okay. Oh, I think I added it 1 chain higher. 2, 3. So this might be a shorter tail. If you are really concerned, you can take it out and adjust it so that it's the next loop up that goes over that. Wrap a single 3 times, and here we go again. 15 sets. I guess you could do 14 now because we had that extra one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I'm just going to take one of those out because as we added that on the third section up, we only needed those 14. So what I'm saying is if you want to connect it here and make the tail just that tiny bit longer, you can certainly do that, but Otherwise you are going to have an extra link in here. You know, even if you find that you feel the tail's a little too short, you could probably weave an extra little knob in through it at the end. Show you what I mean in just a minute. Let's get this over. So if you decided at the end you did want this to be longer, what you could do is go through that bottom piece, take 2 bands, pull them through, put them through again, and then pull one side over the other, and you'd make a slip knot, put it on a C-clip or weave it back. Okay, let's loop this up. I'm gonna loop up the middle until I reach the 3rd peg from the top. Hook between the leg piece, grab it, pull it forward, continue onwards. And stop at that 3rd peg from the top. Now just while I remember, I'm going to take the bands on the top center or top side pegs, pull them forward and down onto the 2nd pegs down on either side. I'm going to press that down really well. Now to loop up the side, we want to catch the bottom layer of double gray bands. So push back all of the bands that are on top, catch those bottom 2, bring them forward and onto the next peg. Push back, get the next 2, bring them forward, and we're going to loop to the 2nd peg from the top on that side. Sorry, that was my phone. I'll have to check in a minute. Go into the arm piece, and we want the bottom 2 gray bands that are coming from the middle 2nd peg. Catch it, put it back up there, and then we go back to the bottom on the opposite side and loop forwards. Straight to the top. You'll want to kind of push down as you go here. We're guiding those bottom 2 grays again. Check as you're going if you see anything looking loose or funny. This is a good time to catch it and correct. Take your time and check that you're getting the bottom 2 and not looping, not latching onto your holding band, so that'll be bad if those ones go. And once you get to that 2nd peg from the top, we're going to loop in from under the arms, those bottom 2 grays again. And go to the 3rd peg down in the center, loop up 2 more times. Okay, so I filmed the rest of my video and it didn't, I guess the camera wasn't on, so we're going to do this part again. I'll get you to take your body off and put your hook through the bands on the top center peg. Carefully remove, moving downwards on the loom as you're easing your pieces off. And you want the front part, whichever side you choose to be the front, to face away from you. Or towards the end of your hook. Okay, let's come back to the loom. We're going to do this again. Take the color you want for your hair. I'm using white. Come down with double bands, top center to the top right, top center to the top left. Double bands once down each of the rows. We're switching to skin tone. Come down 3 times with double bands in the center. and 2 times with double bands down either side. I'm going to do our standard face configuration here. Get a couple bands that aren't so bent now. And 2 bands in from the side 4th to the center 5th. Repeat from the opposite side. We're doing doubled over crossover bands. Cross the 2nd pegs down, and the 3rd pegs down, and the 4th pegs down. Now for your eyes, if you're using bands, you'll pick the color of choice. Take a single of that color, wrap it on your hook 1, 2, or 3 times. Repeat with the 2nd band of the same color, 2, 3, and pull both onto a single skin tone band. And that's the same thing you'll do if you are using beads with a larger hole. If your beads have a smaller hole, as mine do, then you'll take a piece of dental floss or a needle and thread. Oh, got that band over here. We pop it through both of the beads. Through the skin tone band, bring it back over and back through the pieces. You're going to take the band that's holding your eyes, whatever form they're in, stretch it across from the 3rd peg down on one side to the 3rd peg down on the other. You can put your body face down onto the 5th peg down on your loom, and we're going to go between the eyes here. Bring one side of that band up over the 3rd peg down in the center. Let's do a quick extension for the hair. You can always make this longer. We're going to start with the white, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times, pull it onto 7 sets of double white bands. And I say white, but you might be using a yellow or a gold, which is completely fine, of course. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The bands on your hook will go directly onto the top side peg. You want to pull it down, bypass the next 2 chains, and catch the 3rd chain, the next one, onto the 4th peg down on that side. We'll grab a piece out of each of these, as we did with the side for the body, and loop it over. And another hair extension for the opposite sides, and grab 1, 2, 3 times, pulled onto 7 sets of double hair colored bands. 1, 2, 3. My battery is dying, so this might have to be continued. 4, 5, 6, and 7. We'll attach it the same way, and then we'll be able to loop it up in a minute. 2, 3, touch, and once over. Just show you what this looks like, and then I'll be right back. Okay, let's loop up. We're going to go under the head, and feel free to move that section onto another peg if it helps you out. Get your top 2 bands, bring them to the left, next 2 up to the right, last ones go up, and you can continue to loop to the top of the loom in the center. Loop up the sides, same way we did the body. Go for your bottom 2 bands. Push back the rest. You can use your hands or another hook to help you out as needed. We're going to continue to the top, and then loop in from the top side to the top center with those diagonal bands. Opposite side loop. Get inside the hair extension. We want the bottom 2 skin tone bands. I'm gonna pull these out to the side, a little down so I can reach them more easily. And loop in towards the center. Grab a white band, get it ready on your left hand. Take your hook, point the open part away from you, and push your hook through the bands on the top center peg. Grab a single hair colored band and pull it up and through. Rotate your hook as you go so that the open part faces up. Put the other side on and pull one side over the other and over the end of the hook to create a slip knot. And you can remove Thranduil from the loom. Trying to do this carefully so I don't stretch out my bands too much more. If you used white beads and you want to draw on your pupils, you can do that at any point. Now I'm looking at the back. I'm gonna put my hook under a nearby band, grab my securing band, pull it through, and stick it on a C-clip. In the front, you want to pop your eyes through, even them out, and I'll show you 2 ways to make the crown piece. So first of all, if you've got a thin string, gold or silver, you can go through with your hook from the back to the front, just under the hair colored V. Grab your string, we're just going to call it, and pull it to the back. And you can put this onto a C-clip, or hold it on your finger, or put it onto a hook. Any of those will do fine, as long as you've got a little loop at the back. So I folded it over and pulled the loop through. Now I'm going to go through from one of the hair chains just above the eyes, grab one side of that gold and pull it through all the way to the back, and this can slip through that loop that's sitting there, which is now twisting. Didn't twist the first time. Repeat this on the other side, so go through a couple of side hair pegs, bring your gold on and through, and your string through. Doesn't want to go this time. Pull it to the back, bring it through that loop, and then what you can do is tie both ends together. Tie them together, and there you have for the string. And I'll show you what to do if you want to use your bands. So I'm gonna pull this off. Okay, so if you're using silver or gold, what you'll do, keep disappearing. What you'll do is come through at the same spot, grab 2 of the color you want, pull them through, put them on a C-clip, or you can put them onto another band and put the other band on a C-clip. We're going to do something very similar to what we just did. Go through the side, grab one of those pieces, pull it through, put it on a white band, and the white band's going to go on the C-clip. You can pull one side over the other to make it longer. And I'm going to go to the other side, grab the other silver, pull it through, and I'm going to slip that on the white band as well. Put it into place, put that on a C-clip. So I just put those both on the same white band. You would probably want to use 2 to make it a little bit less awkward here. Press your eyes through again, there we are. And Thranduil is done. You can tighten up any loose bands. So there you have it. I hope you'll check out the rest of my Lord of the Rings and Hobbit set. I thank you for watching.